So one neat feature with Google Keep Notes is you can add a reminder, and that reminder can sort of exist within Google Keep and bug you there, but it actually ties into other Google apps you may or may not be using. So let's take a look at how that might function here. I'm going to look in my browser and on my phone at the same time, and I've got the browser, of course, on the left and my phone over here on the right. And so when I go to take a note, maybe this is going to be a note for a important meeting. And there's some important notes I need to take about that meeting, and maybe I need to speak to somebody, and I need to remind myself to do these things before the meeting actually happens. So on my note here, I do have among my row of icons at the bottom, these little buttons, I have a little bell there as a reminder option. So when I choose the Remind Me choice, I could say, bug me later today. So I can follow up on something. Or I might say tomorrow, next week, say next week at Monday, 8 a.m., because I'm going to prep something for, say, a meeting that's going to happen that day. So I click on that. I get April 4th at 8, and I know that's going to remind me now at 8 o'clock. So I can click Close, and that will just sort of pop up and remind me. I can, in fact, see on my labels over here, above all the different listed labels, I do have an option there of reminders as well. That's going to show me any of my Keep Notes that have timestamps like this associated with them, have any reminders connected to them. So if I were to just click on reminders right now, I would only see that one. Oh, I have 5 reminders without notes. How would I have a reminder without a note? I'll have to look at that later. That's something else entirely. I suspect it's really old stuff. But what it means here is that I've got that going on. And then if I wanted to, I could actually jump over to my calendar. And within calendar, down the side, you also have something here called reminders. So let's just look at that one for a second. And I set this up for next week, I believe. Oh, 8 o'clock, there it is. So on my calendar, assuming I have reminders actually turned on, I will be able to see this important meeting reminder coming up. And if I want to take a look at the actual Keep Note, I can do that. And it's going to take me back to that note where I'd written all that really important information. Similar functionality on my phone. If I were to get rid of this reminder for a second, and I'll close that, it still exists. Where's my demo? There we go. There's my note. It still exists. It's going to be gone from my calendar here. So if I switch back to my calendar and I give it a moment, that will refresh itself. I'm going to hit refresh just to speed things up a little bit. There we go. And we'll see with that turned on, there is nothing there next week. So, come back to keep. There we go. Demo. Perfect. Close both of those for a sec. So, what's going to happen over on my phone here is I'll go ahead and tap that same important meeting note. And at the very top, I see that same bell. So I can click the bell again over here. I get a lot of the same options again. And I can go ahead and say, you know what, I want this to be select date and time. I'm going to be more specific. And I'm going to go with Monday at, say, 9:30 in the morning. And I'll go ahead and say save. Now that means again, of course, over on my calendar, it should have added itself for next week, presuming I have reminders on. There it is at 9:30. And again, I can click it, and I can go view that note on my phone. And if I have that same reminders in Google Calendar and such set up, on my device, on my phone, then I'd be able to do that over there as well. And I could see these same reminders. Whereas here, that was going to take me to Keep. It'll end up taking me right back to here and let me edit that note some more. So it's a nice way to be able to take notes, write a little blurb to yourself, and then remind yourself. So if you're thinking of something at a really odd time, you can pull out your device, you can dictate a little note to yourself maybe and set a reminder, and then when you're actually able to deal with that later on, hopefully your reminder is going to pop up and let you know what's going on, and you can sort of sort out whatever it was that you had set that reminder for, whatever that note happened to be about. So a handy way to do that. Of course, in a previous video, we also showed how you can take a Google Doc and put it into Keep Notes. So if you had an entire document with an agenda for that important meeting, you could put that whole doc into a Keep note and then add the reminder so that you get that meeting information showing up on your calendar as well. So one of many ways to use those reminders within Keep.